trying to. Look at it.
Great. Well, so hello, museum families, and welcome to RBCM at Home Kids, a play date through screens across British Columbia and the world. The previous sessions are recorded and you can find them on our Royal BC Museum YouTube page. So my name is Chris O'Connor and I'm a learning program developer here at the Royal BC Museum. The museum and my home is on the territory of the Lekwungen speaking people, the Songhees and Esquimalt nations, here in Victoria on Vancouver Island. I'm an uninvited guest on this territory and grateful to live, learn, and raise a family on this land. And I know that not everyone is joining us from Victoria, from the Lekwungen territory. So wherever you are, just to think about what territory you currently are living, where you are living. So spring has sprung, at least here in Victoria. Every day, more things are popping out of the ground. And it's really exciting and colorful. It makes the world look just a little bit more beautiful. Of course, I know that's not the case for everyone. Some areas are still covered in snow. I'm sorry, but you'll get there as well. So for this session, we're celebrating spring through plants and flowers and art. And I'm so thrilled to have both Coral and Eden Forbes joining us today. So Eden has been a youth mentor and a youth volunteer here at the museum for many years. And before that was a museum camper for many, many years, even before that. And so especially now, since it's spring break, and usually Eden would be here for spring break, helping out the camps. It's so nice to have you here, Eden, for our digital program. And Eden's mom is Coral is currently working in our herbarium here at the Royal BC Museum, working closely with our botany curator and collection manager to organize all the plants and flowers in our collection. So we're so happy that you're here, Coral, at the museum, and so happy that you're both here for RBCM at Home Kids. So welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. Yeah, I wanted to start off by saying happy spring as well, but that might hurt some people's feelings. It is astronomical, like it is spring now officially, but in some places it doesn't feel like it. Don't worry, soon enough the snow will be gone and you too will have fresh leaves and flowers.
We did get one comment from Tara Femina who says it's currently snowing where they are.
Oh,
at least you can play in the snow.
Yes,
it's fun.
Yeah, I know. I was saying the other day we only had one snow this year, so
yeah. So you're so lucky. Don't send it our way. So yeah, Eden and I thought that we'd do some art with you. And as Chris said, I've been working in the herbarium, which is the botany department of the museum. There's a lot of science, there's a lot of research, lots of important things happening, but there's also a ton of beauty. And so that's what has inspired this project. I will show you some herbarium specimens in case you're interested, but first I want to talk about why we're going to dry the flowers, because you may wonder why we don't just go pick some flowers and do art with it, but I'm sure you can guess that wouldn't last long. So the flowers would degrade and eventually rot. Everything eventually wants to turn into soil. So we're trying to preserve them, and we're going to do that just really naturally, no chemicals needed. I think Chris listed the supply list. So for this art project, we were hoping you might have some fresh leaves, plant parts, flowers, maybe from your house plants. And then also some crafting paper, but also newspaper. So 2 different kinds of paper. You're going to need some glue. You might want some tweezers to be able to pick up those fragile pieces. And then some big heavy books. So hardcover is good, the heavier the better. So yeah, if you want to run and go grab those supplies now, or you can just watch this and then you can make it in the future once the snow is gone. So yeah,
just as a reminder, all of our sessions are on our Royal BC Museum YouTube page. So in a couple days, we'll have this up on that as well. So you could rewatch it then.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So yeah, we dry things to make them last. to preserve the color and just the overall integrity of the plants. So I'll show you one of the older specimens, not the oldest, but one of them from the herbarium. Do you want to switch my screen? Sure. 1 second. Thanks, Eden. So here is a thistle. Hopefully you can see that okay, Chris? You can see that okay?
Yep.
Awesome. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's still purple, which is kind of crazy because it's from 1897. So this is why we dry the plants before we do the art. Because ideally, whatever masterpiece you make today, you can look at in 100 years and marvel at your time with us. So some other...
In 2097, right?
Yeah. When we're all, I don't know, flying. So here's another herbarium specimen that I thought was beautiful, just due to the simplicity of it, just the veins in the leaves. It's just simple and just perfect. It's perfect the way it is.
What kind of plant is that?
It is they don't put the common names,
name.
so it's a big crazy scientific name. Thanks for asking, Chris.
Yeah.
Or maybe you have a favorite color. So I chose these ones, which are a type of fireweed, because of the beautiful purple. Here's a columbine, which is kind of got the orange and the yellows. And then the paintbrush, which I just think is so, so beautiful. And it just amazes me how these colors last over time. Now, the way
I was just thinking, Coral, too, that it is flat on the page, but it looks like it's popping out. It looks like...
Oh, does it?
Almost three-dimensional.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're completely squished, completely squished. So they are kept in cabinets within folders. So they're completely protected from pests and degradation from the light. And they're jammed in there really, really squished down tight. So we can put the maximum amount in. So you'll discover that during the pressing process, it is important that everything is completely smushed. So you don't want any bits sticking up, and it needs to be completely dry. So these herbarium specimens are not pressed the way we are going to press today. I just wanted you to be able to use whatever's in your house. They use a proper plant press to do these specimens. They use a heater to warm them up and get rid of all the moisture, and a thing to move the air so that they dry really quickly. And that's the key to preserving these colors.
Because if it was left out in the light, the color would go away, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly. So these ones kind of reminded me of creatures. So yes, they're plants, but sometimes they take on like little animal roles. They just reminded me of little things that might fly around or swim around. And sometimes it's memories that make things beautiful. So if you think about like grass blowing in a field, that can make you feel happy. And to me, that's what art's all about, is it just makes you feel feelings. These ones are, I don't know if you can tell, they're so soft. So they remind me of like our dog's tail. They're just so sweet and soft. Or they remind you of like a fun time swimming in the lake and all the water weeds touching your toes. Maybe that's not fun for you, but that's what these
It's a bit
are
terrifying.
Or eating berries, hanging out in the garden. Does anyone recognize this plant? Apparently the curator said that it took him a long time to identify this. And then it's kind of funny what it actually is. Does anyone want to guess?
They look like hearts.
They totally look like hearts. And you might not be able to tell, the stem is totally fuzzy like a piece of yarn.
Is it some kind of, someone says, is it ivy?
No, but that's a really good guess. It does climb. So I guess it is a type of sort of vine. We maybe buy the fruit at the grocery store. Fuzzy. Yes, it's a kiwi. Nice job. What about this one? Is this one in your garden in the summertime? Look, there's even a fruit in there. So that's how you would press a fruit. Any guesses?
Some kind of berry?
Well, oh, good guess. Yes, very close to squash. It's a type of cucumber.
Ah,
Yes. So those are some herbarium specimens that I found,
those are so pretty.
right?
All those different shapes and lines.
Yeah, I agree. So don't get me wrong, there's important research happening in that herbarium, but there's so much art and beauty as well. So yeah, we've talked a bit about the pressing, and now I know that you ideally already have collected your flowers, but I would just like to talk a tiny bit about sustainable harvesting, just so in the future when you're picking flowers, you're doing it in a really mindful way. As you know, maybe that the whole point of flowers on plants are to create the next generation of plant. I used to work a lot with children, and I'd say, well, why are there flowers? So I can pick them for mommy, but that's actually not why they exist. They exist to create babies. So along that journey, the flowers are providing really important food through the nectar and the pollen, and then eventually the seeds and the fruit also provide really important food to our native animals here. So just keep that in mind when you're picking. So you're ideally picking from a plant that already has 10 or more flowers, and you're taking like 2, and you're taking them gently so that you're not damaging the plant. You're never ever picking in parks or protected areas, not at all, not anything. Ideally, you're taking the little English daisies out of your yard, out of your lawn. You're picking from a garden. Make sure you ask permission first if it's the neighbor, grandma. But yeah, ideally you're growing the flowers that then you're going to pick, and still only choosing a few, because your garden is super, super important to pollinators and the animals in the city as well. So just a little note about that. So definitely all the flowers we used here were sustainably harvested always. So
Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah. I'm ready to show how easy way to press. It's going to take me just a quick second. So if you want to take this moment to go grab your book and your newspaper and those flowers or leaves, go now. Do you want to switch screens, Eden?
Sure. There you go.
Awesome. All right, I hope you're back. So I just chose some of our favorite books. You can choose any. In theory, if we do this right, there will be no damage to the book. I will tell you something really important to do in a minute to make sure of that. But so you're just gonna open up your book to the middle-ish and then put a piece of—
It seems appropriate that you have an insect book.
Yeah. It's the only books that are allowed in the house are nature books.
Right.
And then you're going to just put this is not I am not promoting London Drug skincare, but I do find the flyers are the perfect size. If you have something a different size, you can totally fold it, but ideally it's going to fit the page of the book so that there's nothing hanging out. And then I'm gonna put, so in solidarity of those up north under 6 feet of snow, these are not from outside. There no bragging. These were store-bought flowers for my birthday from last week. So I've hacked them up for you, my northern friends. So here's a little piece of salal. This is a native plant, but this is often used in floral arrangements. So you can see it's curving. I hope you can see that it's kind of curving up. So I'm going to actually put it upside down. So those curves go down, and that will just lend itself to pressing easier. And that's it. That's all I'm going to put on this page. I don't want to overdo it. So then I'm going to fold my flyer, make sure there's newspaper on the other side, and make sure it tucks in, close my book. And then you can sit on it, you can dance on it. It becomes a little stage for the next 3 weeks.
Just don't hurt the book.
Yeah, just don't hurt the book.
We love books.
And then I'm going to put a new book. Oh, look, it's a nature book. Weird. This one's a bit thicker, so I'm going to actually put 2 plants in here. So My trusty London Drugs.
And if they are the same size books, then you can sort of stack them on top of each other.
Totally, yeah. Or just make sure the smaller ones are on top, yeah. And now here's some flowers. So I'm gonna, again, it curves up, so I'm gonna put it down and down. And cut off as much of the stem, if you brought scissors, as possible, just so there's the least amount of things. And I'm just gonna get crazy and put a third one. So it looks like that, and now it's going like that. And I'm gonna cut off that bottom.
So a couple of comments. Tara Femina says, under your mattress is nice, even pressure maybe. So that's a possibility. And then Morgan from Facebook says, don't stomp on the books, friends.
Eden was thinking the same thing. I'm not allowed to stomp on my books.
I would never stomp on my books. I love my books.
Dancing's important, just not on books.
That's right. Dancing is very important. All right, and last one.
So you left enough pages in between each.
Yes. Right. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to do this one sideways. So do think about the way you want it to end up. That's the way you should press it. It's really hard to change the orientation. You'll see with the dried plants. There you go. Okay. No stomping, just more books. So as many books as possible, and then you need to leave them. But here's what you're gonna do to make sure they dry well and that your book isn't getting damaged tomorrow. So give them an overnight, and then tomorrow check on them. So while I was preparing for this program, I didn't do that once 2 weeks ago, and I did a nice big rhododendron flower, and I didn't check on it the next day. And so that moisture had gone into the newspaper, gone into the book, and rotted the flower. So that wasn't super nice to find out yesterday. So yeah, the very next day, you're gonna know just how wet things are. Obviously, you wanted the flowers to be dry when you put them in, but there's moisture inside of them. So switch your paper, switch your newspaper, and even switch the page of your book tomorrow. After tomorrow, now you just leave it. I would leave them for 3 weeks for guaranteed success. But yeah, depending on how thick and moist they are, you could leave them even just for 2 weeks. So now, thanks to the magic of television, no, we're live, but I've just always wanted to say that here. Oh, everyone.
Not a nature book, but
Bella Luna, the best.
It's a really good book.
It is a really good book.
So here are the ones I did 3 weeks ago. So they weren't on top of each other. I just kind of put them all together. So these ones are completely dry, completely flat. So this is June Plum. This is currently blooming outside. It smells like cat pee. And Eden said, why does everything smell so bad? It's thanks to the June Plum. So I don't know how well you can see. Like, can you see how flat that is?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's completely flat. And that was just a little sprig end of the stem, flowers and all. And that's just from doing exactly this technique that I'm showing you. There's some lupin from my garden. I put in herbs, some rosemary, a little bit of a conifer end, a bud. And yeah, so that's what they're gonna look like in 3 weeks. So nice. I think we're ready to do.
So essentially what's happening is they're just, over those 3 weeks, they're just drying out completely.
Completely, yeah. So important to bring them in your house. You can't press plants very well outside unless it's a nice hot summer's day, because they do need the dry and the warmth. So there was this like a little baseboard heater in the room that I was using. So that's really important, is just to have that warmth and dryness while they're drying.
Or maybe on a windowsill where it gets some sunlight, is that?
Sure, for the warmth, for sure. And then they'll be protected from that sunlight because they're within the pages of the book. Yeah, sure. Sounds great. So I'm just gonna set Eden up. And you guys.
Is this clear glue?
It is, yeah.
Perfect.
So yeah, for this you will need, if you've got liquid glue or a glue stick. If you have liquid glue, you might want a paintbrush. If you wanted to have pencils or pencil crayons to help with your pattern of what you want to do, you might want the tweezers to be able to pick up the pieces, and maybe some scissors if you do want to cut leaves up. So go ahead and go grab those supplies now. All right, Eden.
Okay.
And while people are doing that, Eden, I said that you have been a youth volunteer here at the museum, and then you were a camper. How old were you when you first started being the camper here at the museum?
Do you remember, Mom? I don't really remember. I know that I was old enough that after like 2 or 3 years, I became the same age as the mentors. And then
Oh
I was
yeah,
like,
right.
I still want to do this, but I don't know. I want to be part of this somehow, but like, I don't know how else to. So then I became a mentor, and it's super fun. So
Great.
if you're starting to graduate becoming a camper, then become a mentor. It's amazing. Super fun.
An amazing group of youth, Eden being one of an amazing group of about 20 youth that are part of our programs.
All right, take it away, Eden.
Okay. So I was thinking, like, I love nature and I love art. What is better than art made out of nature? And the good thing about having art that's made out of nature is that nature is just so beautiful that no matter what you do, it's gonna look good because you have all these beautiful colors and all these beautiful plants, and it's gonna look good. So it's also kind of important that you use tweezers. If you don't have some, just be really careful with the plants and specimens, because I feel like it just to make sure they don't break. So as you can see, I have a lot of cool flowers and plants that my mom was nice enough to press for me 3 weeks ago. So I think I'm just gonna start with, I was thinking of maybe doing like a mandala type piece, and I was thinking I might start with, let's start with this really, really beautiful flower. Okay, so I'll take this, put it in about like the, also you don't have to do any of this. I've seen people that made like faces or people, or made even cooler if you make flowers out of the flowers that you already have, like make them in little circles. But I really want to try a mandala. So I'm going to take this off, put a little spot of glue right in the middle there. Sounds kind of weird. Okay, there we go. Make sure to save my glue. And then tweezers. And then I'll put it right in the middle there. Beautiful. Okay, and then I'll think what looks good with this. Maybe I'll put some of these going out. Actually, I'm gonna take my scissors and make them a bit shorter, and I'll cut the leaves off of this. And I'll make so that I'll have more room.
There's also this.
Yeah, I might use this. Okay. Glue sticks are also fine. I prefer clear liquid glue, but glue sticks also work perfectly fine. And I'll put some here. And maybe I'll cut another one. You can kind of make, like, use your imagination and like make flowers that you think would look cool out of combining different types of plants. That's what I used to do when I was little. I used to have books and books of drawings that I'd made of flowers that I think should exist but don't. Okay. Yeah, and just have fun with it and think of what could look cool. And yeah, so I'm just gonna put these around in a circle by cutting off the leaves.
It's nice, Eden, that you had this idea to begin with, and then you're just sort of testing out different ways to put it down and see how it looks. Even just a couple flowers down and leaves down, it takes on this really beautiful shape.
Yeah, and you can start, like, it kind of looks, yeah, I like this. It looks kind of funky, and yeah, with the spiky leaves. All right, so far I have this, and I think it looks cool.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe I can get like a stem. I'll take this leaf and I'm gonna cut it down the middle to have like a stem coming off of it. To get like a thin stem. Be really gentle with it. And then maybe I can put a stem coming down. Maybe I'm gonna make this more of a line.
And just a reminder, people can do this with fresh flowers, but ideally it's after 3 weeks of once they're dry, so then it will stay longer. Is that true?
I like this.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Perfect. All right. Just there, and then like that.
Yeah, temporary art is fun too. So if you make them with the fresh flowers, just really, really, really enjoy them in the moment, and then know that they will slowly change over time. Sometimes, like if you do a jack-o'-lantern for Halloween, I prefer ours a month later. I think it actually looks fantastic.
Yeah, and you could even like take photos every day,
Yeah.
see how it's decomposing.
Okay, wait, I think this is too big for this moment, but I'll add different ones. Yeah. And it's also cool because like no matter what color combinations you have, it's gonna look cool no matter what because nature looks cool.
You're right. You can't go wrong with nature.
Exactly. It's perfect.
See, those books really made a difference, I'm telling you.
I was raised on this kind of stuff. Okay.
I'm interested to know what other people are doing. Are there any comments on what other folks are doing? Are they creating creatures or good memories?
Yeah, so in the chat or in the comment section, if you want to write down what your art is starting to look like, you could even share a photo if you'd like. So Tara Femina says, so I walked around the house and clipped houseplants, feeling very Victorian. How delightful.
Yes.
Now a very hefty potted geranium is weighting down my clippings as a homemade press. Oh, nice. Oh, and then Vianu says, we're following Eden's lead with a mandala.
Nice.
This isn't really turning into a mandala because
Well, that's kind of interesting, like starting with the mandala and then
yeah, I think
kind of,
it looks absolutely gorgeous. It kind of looks like stained glass to me. This.
oh yeah.
Do I have another one of those? And I'll add like so you don't even have to listen to yourself when you're planning out things. 'Cause when in doubt, improvise. That's what I learned.
One thing I was thinking, Eden, too, is that like if you were doing it with a friend too, like maybe each of you do a move, like put one thing and then someone else puts another thing. So it could be like a collaborative project also, which would be kind of fun.
Totally, that would look
That's a great idea. And these do color photocopy well. We do that occasionally in the herbarium for strange circumstances, but yeah, like if you made it with a friend and you both wanted to take it home, you could totally color photocopy it and you'd both have copies of it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll.
So Chris, I am aware of the time and like Eden's just going to spend the whole rest of the day doing this.
It's so much fun.
So whatever you would like to come next, we're totally fine with that.
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you both so much for being here. And I think that process of picking picking in a responsible, sustainable way, and then going through the process of pressing them and waiting 3 weeks. That's a really lovely thing to be able to really like spend time with the things that you're pressing, and then it's like a nice surprise 3 weeks later to be able to open it up and have it and
makes
work
the art even more your own.
Totally, you're very invested at that point.
You earned this art.
And then another thing I was thinking is that like this would be a great idea for cards, like birthday card. Well, first, belated happy birthday, Coral.
Oh.
And then I think that this would make a really lovely birthday card if you were making this kind of art. I mean, you'd have to like delicately hand it over to your friend. But
Yeah.
Yeah, there is so much you can do with press dried plants. My aunt does a ton of different things with putting them on wood and then lacquering them. I have a friend who makes resin jewelry with pressed plants. Yeah, it's just completely endless. But this is a nice place to start. Just press plants on paper, and I think you can't go wrong. So
yeah, and Terrafamina says, or snail mail too, which is, yeah, if you, oh yeah, pun. Yes, snail mail, very funny pun. Um, but yeah, if you like sent a book to someone and then say turn to page 30, and then
oh,
Oh, that'd
there's
be
some
so
artwork that would be really
that's
nice.
really
Sometimes occasionally in like when I get used books, occasionally I'll open up the page and see that someone had started to press a flower, and that's always
oh,
a lovely find.
that's so nice.
So thank you so much to the two of you for being here. It's Eden. It's so nice having you back at the
Oh, it's so
museum.
great to
We've
be
missed you.
here.
And Coral, we're so happy that you're here at the museum.
Thank you so
And
much.
and thank you for sharing this with us. Um, and thank you everyone for joining us. We'd love to see what you created. Actually, I haven't done this for a while, but what I'll do is I'll put in to the chat my email. So definitely, and Jenny, if you could put that on Facebook Live as well. Definitely send me what you created. Oh, there you go. The native plant garden is behind Coral and Eden. Um, send me what you created, and then I'll send it along to Coral and Eden too, because I know they would love to see what you created. And yeah, and then we do this every Wednesday at 11 o'clock, and so I'd love to see you next week as well. So thanks everyone for joining, both on Facebook Live and Zoom, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.